Again, like any other archaeological excavation, a group of Israeli and American archaeologists quietly worked near a forgotten site in the Judean hills. No media coverage, no official support, only rumors of an ancient scroll that hinted at a hidden chamber beneath the ruins. Most believed it was just another dead end, until their ground-penetrating radar revealed something unnatural. Beneath 30 feet of stone and earth lay a massive rectangular chamber, perfectly carved, untouched, possibly for thousands of years. The shape, location, and dimensions all matched the descriptions found in biblical texts. And then one of the team members whispered the words no one dared to say aloud. Could this be the Ark? They kept the location secret, disguising the entrance to the chamber before the government could intervene. But what they found inside the ancient structure was not just ancient, it was unlike anything they had ever seen. And then, something even stranger happened when they opened the vault. The vault was sealed with limestone slabs that hadn't been touched for centuries, perhaps even longer. It took hours to open it. What they saw inside made grown men freeze in their tracks. A golden chest, about 4 feet long, 2 feet wide, and 2.5 feet high. Exquisitely carved figures with 2 wings on the lid. No corrosion, no signs of decay. Only gleaming gold, untouched by time. When one of the archaeologists reached out to touch it, all electronic devices nearby shut down. No power at all. Cameras stopped recording. The lights dimmed. It seemed as if the chest was absorbing energy. Some team members wanted to leave immediately. Others insisted it was just a coincidence. They lifted the object just enough to confirm their worst fears. It was not a replica. It was not a hoax. And then they carefully noticed inscriptions that were engraved along the base in ancient Hebrew. But the very next discovery truly shook their faith in everything they thought they knew about this significant artifact. The inner walls of the chamber were coated with a strange black soot, as if something had burned fiercely here. But the Ark remained completely untouched. There was neither dust nor ash on it, no signs of burns, as if it had been protected while everything around it was destroyed. There were also bones, human remains, several skeletons. All of them were piled up against the far wall. Some were curled up in a fetal position, others stretched out as if caught in the act of running. No signs of injury, only death, sudden and silent. And then one of the archaeologists remembered old stories about people who touched the Ark and died instantly. They had always thought it was a myth. Until that moment, the team left the hall in shock. But when they reviewed one of the surviving analog recordings, they noticed something on the tape. A quiet humming, almost like a chant, which no one had heard in person. And this humming led to an even more chilling theory. In the laboratory, the scientists tried to analyze the Ark, but nothing worked. Neither X-rays nor chemical analysis worked. Even the materials defied explanation. The gold alloy on its surface had no modern equivalent whatsoever, and beneath it, the wooden lining did not match any currently known species. But the truly strangest thing about this artifact was that it consistently emitted a faint electromagnetic field, constant and rhythmically pulsing, much like a living heartbeat. In the following days, everyone who touched it began to experience strange symptoms. Vivid dreams, nosebleeds, even temporary blindness. One of the men collapsed mid-sentence, claiming he heard voices singing from inside the gold. Nevertheless, they kept working until the government arrived, shut everything down, and took the Ark away. However, one of the scientists managed to copy part of a scroll found nearby, and that scroll led to a discovery hidden much deeper than anyone could have imagined. Within 24 hours of the government's arrival, the entire team was separated, interrogated, and required to sign strict non-disclosure agreements. The laboratories were searched, equipment was confiscated, and satellite images were deleted. It was as if this place had never existed. One whistleblower, a technician named Daniel Knox, fled the country and uploaded a grainy video to the internet. In it, he described how soldiers escorted the Ark into a lead-lined box that bore only a strange black symbol. The next day, his account was deleted and his phone was disconnected. He hasn't been seen since. But shortly before his disappearance, Daniel sent a message to a friend in Jerusalem along with a copy of an ancient scroll. And what was revealed in that scroll prompted a small team to rush to a place no one had ever considered before. The scroll mentioned a second cache beneath the mountain where 2 temples had fallen. This could mean only one thing: the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, but no one had ever dared to dig there. Political tension, religious significance, and historical importance have made this the most heavily guarded piece of land on the planet. Nevertheless, the wording was unambiguous. The scroll mentioned a chamber of mirrors beneath the cornerstone, sealed in the time of Jeremiah. A controversial professor from Tel Aviv, long considered a conspiracy theorist, put forward this hypothesis decades ago. No one listened, until now. Using underground scanning technology that had been secretly delivered in parts, the team conducted a survey beneath the mountain. What they discovered stunned even the skeptics. Voids exactly where the ancient scroll had precisely described. But there was something else present as well: a strange, powerful magnetic radiation, unlike anything naturally occurring. This powerful magnetic field was soon to reveal yet another long-forgotten and deeply hidden secret, concealed in plain sight for many centuries. Historians have always been profoundly fascinated by certain enigmatic artifacts in the renowned Israel Museum. Strange, ancient relics with no established or clear origin, simply labeled as ritual objects or temple fragments. But after one dedicated researcher carefully compared the ancient symbols from the scroll with the extensive museum records, he noticed something quite strange. An intriguing artifact that had long been considered merely a decoration. A beautifully gilded plate, intricately engraved with mysterious symbols, matched the detailed drawing in the scroll. It was not just a simple decoration, but a crucial map, a precise guide pointing directly to an underground chamber located beneath the Temple Mount. The symbols formed a distinct pattern, a brilliant star, across which a winding path gracefully ran. If you trace this path, it matched perfectly with the old tunnels from the Crusader era, most of which had been sealed off. This was no coincidence. It was an encrypted path to something greater, and, as it turned out, this path had already been taken by a mysterious group connected to one of the oldest legends about the Ark. For many centuries, Ethiopian priests have consistently claimed that the sacred Ark was transported to the ancient city of Axum. A highly guarded chapel there, known only to a select few, was said to meticulously keep it under the armed protection of a specially chosen guardian who could never, ever leave that sacred place. Most Western scholars dismissed this claim, but new evidence found in the scroll linked this legend to Jerusalem, mentioning the lion's branch that fled south, carrying the fire of heaven. This lion's branch was a well-known reference to the Solomonic dynasty. What did this mean? The Ark was temporarily transported to Ethiopia, and then secretly brought back. Photographs from the chapel in Axum showed a mysterious empty pedestal, surrounded by traces of burns. Something had been there, and whatever it was, it disappeared quite recently. But why was it returned, and who did it? Soon, a mysterious letter from an American intelligence officer would reveal the next part of the puzzle. In the early 1940s, a clandestine mission brought a small group of Allied operatives to the Middle East, supposedly in search of valuable cultural treasures of strategic importance. In their records, declassified only decades later, there was mention of an unusual container found during excavations in Egypt, but never registered in any official museum. One name kept appearing in the documents: Dr. Emery Foster, a real archaeologist and, according to rumors, the inspiration for Indiana Jones. His final report describes something eerily similar to the Ark: golden, radioactive, and unsuitable for transport. But here's the catch. Foster's report ends abruptly. The last page is crossed out, the location is classified, and the object itself, there were no further mentions of it, until one retired U.S. agent, worn out by secrets he could no longer keep, sent a package to a journalist in Jerusalem. Inside that package were coordinates and a photograph that shouldn't have existed. At first, journalist David Levin didn't believe it. A blurry Polaroid showing a golden chest surrounded by people in hazmat suits. On the back of the photo was a simple inscription: Sinai, 1968. Next to it was a map marked with circles, one of which matched a recent radar scan beneath the Temple Mount. Levin acted quietly, fearing interception. He met with former Mossad operatives, archaeologists, and even a former Vatican archivist who had seen similar photographs decades ago. According to the agent's letter, the Ark had been moved at least 3 times since World War II, but now it was back in its original chamber for reasons no one understood. They are preparing for something, the letter warned. Something that will happen very soon. And just when Levin thought he had fully unraveled the mystery, a box of ancient coins appeared on his doorstep with no return address. The coins were ancient silver shekels from the Second Temple period, but not of museum quality. They were flawless, as if they had never been handled, buried, or exposed to the elements. The experts could not explain it. Next to them was a scrap of parchment, with coordinates matching the excavation site that had been closed by the Israeli authorities without explanation. Levin managed to get in by disguising himself as a surveyor. What he found was a hastily backfilled site. The entrance had been sealed with concrete, but the equipment left behind suggested that something had been quickly removed from there. Rumors began to spread through the black market for artifacts. It was said that a private collector from Switzerland had supposedly paid more than $10 million for a relic that did not belong to this land. And who was responsible for transporting these relics? Not only archaeologists, but also mercenaries, scouts, and private contractors. Someone was collecting ancient sources of energy, and one name kept coming up again and again: a certain institution that always denied any involvement. These were not just rumors. There were actual documents, smuggled out of the Vatican's secret archives by a former monk turned whistleblower. He claimed that the church had known the precise location of the Ark since the 12th century, and that several popes had sanctioned secret expeditions to find it. All of them ultimately failed, but one letter, dated 1592, stood out among the rest. Addressed to a cardinal in Jerusalem, it described a sacred flame beneath a stone, guarded by a blinding light. In the letter, the Ark was referred to not as a myth, but as a living force, and it warned that moving it could trigger events beyond human control. The Vatican's silence was no accident. It was strategic. They knew about the power hidden beneath the Holy Land, and they were not the only ones watching it. Soon, mysterious video recordings would begin to appear, capturing something truly extraordinary that defied both established science and profound faith. The ancient tunnels beneath Jerusalem are a vast and intricate labyrinth, partly natural formations, and partly meticulously carved out over countless millennia. A group of independent researchers, equipped with night vision devices and thermal imagers, captured something eerie on video: flashes of blue and white light appearing out of nowhere. No known sources of electricity, no traces of heat, only bursts of light, almost like plasma, pulsing along the walls. One of the men lost consciousness during the filming, claiming he felt something pass through him, like a wave of static and cold. Later, he was diagnosed with a severe neurotrauma, despite the absence of any visible injuries. The recording was anonymously sent to Levin, who confirmed its authenticity. When the video was slowed down and viewed frame by frame, in one of the flashes of light, a shape appeared, brief and barely discernible, resembling the upper part of the Ark, with winged figures sparkling with energy. And in the next hole, they discovered something even more truly impossible. Among the very oldest plans of the Temple Mount, carefully kept in dusty boxes in the vast Ottoman archive in Istanbul, there were detailed, hand-drawn blueprints of an inner chamber that had never been officially excavated or publicly acknowledged. But one of the ancient fragments of scrolls found near the Ark described that very same intricate layout with frightening accuracy. It specifically mentioned resonance chambers, designed to contain what the scroll called the voice of God, a powerful force that mortal ears were not meant to hear. The room was circular, lined with polished stone to reflect sound and energy. Essentially, it was a biblical Faraday cage. The blueprints indicated that the room contained mechanisms, levers, and locks designed to seal the Ark if it ever became unstable. It wasn't just a storage room. It was a containment chamber. And, according to the scroll, the locks were failing. What happened to the team that discovered them could have frightened even the most hardened skeptic. These were professionals, 4 archaeologists, and 2 military escorts. They had clearance, equipment, and orders to document the room marked on the blueprints. They entered on Monday, and they never came out. 2 days later, a backup team arrived. They found only the tools. No signs of struggle, no blood, no traces, just 6 flashlights, neatly arranged in a circle. In the center, a scorched mark on the stone that hadn't been there before. The surveillance footage began when the first team entered the room. The audio recordings captured a barely discernible whisper in an unknown language. Some said it sounded like Aramaic. Since then, the chamber has remained sealed. But later, a note was found in the home of one of the missing archaeologists, written a few days before the expedition. It read, "If we don't return, do not open it again." But someone opened it anyway. After the team's disappearance, the Israeli government promptly sealed the chamber with reinforced concrete. But before that, a final attempt was made to meticulously scan the room using long-range acoustic sensors. The chilling results sent a profound chill down everyone's spine. They detected low-frequency vibrations, repetitive patterns eerily resembling human speech. Experts filtered out the noise and enhanced the recording. What they heard were fragmented phrases in ancient Hebrew, which translated as, "Do not awaken the fire, and he is watching." Some dismissed it as geological interference, while others believed it was residual energy, an echo of something ancient, something sentient. The ancient scroll warned that the Ark was not just a mere relic, it was in fact a powerful guardian, and if it was truly alive in any sense, the very next discovery certainly confirmed that it might not be entirely alone. Documents found in a previously unknown Dead Sea cave revealed something shocking. References not to one, but to three sacred vessels: the flame, the scroll, and the voice. The Ark was only one part of a triad, and it was believed that all three together formed a single divine mechanism. It was believed that the scroll contained the original laws, not the tablets of Moses, but something even more ancient: the voice. No one truly knew what this discovery meant until, deep beneath Mount Nebo, a significant relic was discovered, covered in intricate concentric circles and symbols precisely matching those found on the very base of the Ark. It was not merely an object, it was in fact an integral part of a larger system, and if the Ark had been reactivated, whether intentionally or by accident, the pots could have responded. Reports began coming in from all over the world: lights, vibrations, even mass hallucinations near other ancient sites, and suddenly, the true cost of discovering the Ark became terrifyingly or unmistakably clear. For centuries, the Ark had been a symbol, a myth, but now it was proven to be real and active. This changed the game not only for archaeologists and historians, but also for world powers, religious institutions, and intelligence agencies. But what if the Ark wasn't created by humans at all? What if it was left behind by something far more ancient or extraterrestrial? The scrolls spoke of fire carried on wings, and voices speaking from within the storm, descriptions that eerily resemble modern accounts of unidentified aerial phenomena. If the Ark is a device rather than a relic, what was it created for? Some believed it was a weapon, others thought it was a communicator or a seal keeping something locked away. But if it were activated by the wrong people, it might not be just secrets that would be unleashed. Since its discovery, everyone who tried to speak out has disappeared. Levin's letters were deleted, whistleblowers vanished, journalists were discouraged from investigating. A senior researcher in London died under mysterious circumstances after publishing a theory linking the Ark to gamma-ray bursts. Governments denied everything. But leaked documents revealed funding cuts, program cancellations, and silent cooperation between rival countries. They did not argue over ownership rights. They were afraid of what the Ark might do, and of who might come for it. And yet, the latest evidence could not be concealed. The final video emerged, secretly smuggled out from the sealed Jerusalem site, showing what had been hidden in the chamber beneath the stone. The video was short, less than a minute, but it changed everything. The footage showed the Ark, faintly glowing and hovering above the ground. Around it, the symbols on the room's walls flickered like fire, and in the center of the room